Welcome to Running on Love with God on Blog Talk Radio. My name is Lori Michelle, and in April of 2009, I was awakened to the voice of none other than God Himself. He told me to go get pen and paper and start writing, and I did. And since that time, I have written several books with conversations with God Himself. Today, 7.5 years later, I live in Tiberias, Israel, and I am awakened to my life's purpose, which is to share Hashem God's voice with you. I hear Him with exquisite clarity. I went physically deaf, lost my hearing, but He gave me the supernatural ability to hear Him along with Spirit with crystal clear clarity. I hear Hashem God and the spirit world better than I hear people of this world. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here today to share with you His voice and His guidance on this very somber anniversary of 9/11. Today, on 9/11/16, I'm going to take a look back to that day, that infamous day, 9/11/2001, where we all took a terrible blow and suffered a horrible tragedy. America on that morning lost her innocence. We awakened to the fact that our world had spun completely out of control. And that morning, thousands of innocent men and women and children were murdered. And here we are 15 years later, and the pain is still very deep for many of us. I remember that morning. That morning I was driving to work, and I was the owner of a small marketing company. And I was going to set the world on fire. I looked up at the sky and I said, wow, what a beautiful day. It was crystal clear without a cloud in the sky. Everybody remembers how beautiful the weather was that morning. And I got to work and I was working, and then I heard a big commotion coming from the next office, which was my husband at the time. We worked together. And I ran to his office to see what was going on, and it was our art director. And she was crying, and I thought she had suffered a tragedy. Someone in her family was sick or had died. And she, through her tears, said, "A plane just hit the World Trade Center." And I thought, wow, what? What happened? It had to be an accident. And I ran to my office, and the phone started ringing off the hook. And as I was on the phone with someone, another plane hit the second tower. And then we all knew this was no accident. And that morning led to a whole day of frenzy and chaos. And we were all so upset. And we didn't have very good internet connection like we do now. We had one computer in the front office where our project manager sat, and she was able to get ABC News on the internet. And we stood around and we watched on TV, on the internet, the two towers crumble into dust. And at that moment we said, everybody go home. And we ran to the elementary school where I had 3 small children and picked up our children, as many of us did that day. And we went home, and we were scared. We didn't know if this was the end of the world. There were 4 planes still missing, and the airports were shut down. We were in lockdown. And then we watched on TV, to our horror, watching video footage of people jumping and leaping out of the World Trade Center to escape burning to death in the towers. It was horrific. The next day, we tried to regroup and go to work and try to pick up the pieces, as we have to. If we're living, we have to keep going. So we went to work. None of us felt like being there. And I went into my husband's office and I looked at him and he was white as a sheet. And I said, "What happened? What happened now?" And he said, "My friend was in the tower. He had a lifelong friend from childhood, and she was in the tower, and she was missing. She was in her early 40s, and she had 2 small children." Like many people, we lost her in the World Trade Center, and a lot of people lost their loved ones, but we all lost a piece of our innocence that morning. And today, we still grieve for the thousands of people who lost their lives. But I remember something magical that happened from that tragedy. Right after that happened, I remember how people responded. People were hanging flags everywhere in New Jersey. I lived in northern New Jersey, and there were flags everywhere, and people were unabashedly saying, "God bless you. God bless America." It was not politically incorrect anymore to invoke the name of God. And I went to the ShopRite and I would go shopping, and maybe for the first time in my life, people were making eye contact with me. We were making eye contact with each other as if to say, "I love you. I'm here for you." We didn't push past each other to get our vegetables and get our staples and get out of the store. We literally took the time to make eye contact and greet each other. I walked out of the ShopRite one day, in those days that followed, and the fire department was out collecting for the firemen with their boots. And I gave a donation, and the fireman said to me, "God bless you." And I responded, "God bless you." And I thought about all the firemen and all the policemen and all the first responders that died that morning, sacrificing their lives to save people from the towers. But now, 15 years later, it's politically incorrect to use the word God. And if I'm exaggerating, I apologize, but I really don't. I know it's true. We just had a conversation last week on Blog Talk Radio about God, and I was asked, how do I bring God up? It's not politically correct. People are offended when you start to talk about religion. And I said and responded, in this day and age, when people are blowing each other up and people are dying, how do you not speak of God? We need him more than ever. And I hear him in plain English. And I'm not apologizing and I'm not being silent anymore. You see, I came out with this in the past couple of months, and I'm putting videos on YouTube, and I'm talking on Blog Talk Radio, and I'm posting on Facebook, Running on Love on Facebook. And I'm losing probably as many followers as now I'm gaining on Facebook. But I'm going to keep going. Why am I losing thumbs? Because I'm saying that I speak with God. People don't believe me. I posted a video a few weeks ago, and I was ridiculed by the Orthodox Jewish community. An Orthodox woman made fun of me because I was wearing a tank top, and she thought it was hilarious that I said on YouTube that Hashem says I'm his Moshiach. I don't need to be Moshiach or have that title, but he says that's what I am. I'm Lori, and I hear him. and I see him and I speak with him and he shows me visions. And it would be wrong and immoral if I stayed quiet any longer. I'm not going to be quiet anymore. And if you don't appreciate what I have to say, then you won't listen. I guess it's not time for me to speak with you, but I'm speaking out to reach anyone and everyone who wants to get this right, because peace on earth is attainable. We don't have to suffer this way anymore. We never really did have to suffer this way. We create our own hell on earth. And it's time for us to come together as a family and reach together in love and understanding. I created a charity called Running on Love, a 501c3 charity, and I gave it everything. I even hosted 2 events, and I paid for those events myself out of my own pocket. But the world wasn't ready to run on love. The world didn't see the need for a charity that was only about love. I have many reasons why it failed, but I have every reason in the world to keep going and ask you to help me make it succeed. Because running on love is what we need. We need a world that runs on love and understanding and education. And that's what this radio program is about. And that's what Running on Love is about. So I'm going to share with you, we had a tragedy 15 years ago, and I'm going to share with you right now what I wrote 7.5 years ago in a book, my first book, called The Book of Love by Hashem, God Himself. I'm going to read a few paragraphs that I wrote on April 30th to share with you some prophecy that He gave me back then that He says still holds true. He had been talking to me about swine flu, and back in that period of time, we were suffering from swine flu. And he had told me that I should consider getting vaccinated, that it could help. And I said to him, I think I just got that there is a reason for this, and it's political. Am I correct? And he responded, Osama bin Laden working with Taliban, committed to evil, terror, have to catch him, destroy him before it's too late. Eyes on nuclear weapons pointed at Israel. This can't be done. Please tell me more, I responded. And he said, Al-Qaeda network bans. You have to listen to this before it's too late. Christians band together to fight Al-Qaeda. Deadly explosion hurt many thousands. We will witness this. Population survived, but devastation. And that's all I'm going to read. There's much more for me to share, and I will share over time. I'm not reading this to scare you. I'm reading this to wake you up. If you read the Bible, if you believe in God and you believe in the Bible, the Torah, the Christians, the Muslims, all of you, then you know we're heading for trouble. We're in trouble. I'm not saying anything that anybody doesn't know, but I heard it directly from Hashem, God. But what He was warning me about is something that the world will not recognize. You see, the world is ascending on Israel. Boycott Israel. Rub Israel off the face of the earth. The final solution is get rid of the Jews. Well, let me tell you something that Hashem, God, has told me in no uncertain terms. He said from the beginning, wake them up, Lori. He said, if anything happens to my children, I will create a gigantic Masada Read about Masada if you don't know about the story of Masada. And he said, before the filth has an opportunity to take out my children, I will end this world the way I began it, with a big bang. Well, he told me that 7 years ago. I was startled, and I ran around like Chicken Little, and it got me in a lot of trouble. My life careened out of control, and I'm not going to go into it heavily now, but what I'm telling you now is 7.5 years later, I live in Israel. I eat and sleep, I mop my floors, I bake challah on Friday, I live a beautiful life here in Israel. I cook, I clean, I write, I'm writing a book, and I'm completely sane. I might be the most sane, clear, and awake person in all the world. I have answers for you. I can help you. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to peel your eyes open. Wake up. Please listen to me. The Jews are not the problem. The Muslims are not the problem. The Christians are not the problem. Religion's not even the problem. Each and every person is the problem. And when there's a problem and people with problems come together as one unified group, it becomes a big problem. We have problems everywhere. The way to solve the problem is to push your hatred away, because that's not what you are. You're not haters. You're pieces of God. You're creations of Hashem God. The answer is to reach for each other as family and set aside your hatred. Look away from hatred and come together and learn what each other knows, because Hashem God has told me there's pieces of truth everywhere. But he says the Jewish children hold his rule book, his way of life, Torah. And this should not upset Christians, Muslims, or anyone, because Muslims and Christians and Jews both believe that the Jewish children have the Torah, and that the Torah came through Moshe, God's prophet. So none of this information should make people get stiff-necked and angry. It's truth. But instead of reaching for the Jewish children, the chosen children, to lead us out of this mess, the world's ascending on the Jewish children and hating them. This can't be done. And the Jewish children have got to wake up as well. We all need the wake-up call. I'm going to read to you something that happened on December the 14th, 2012. Sandy Hook Elementary School that morning was broken into by a young 20-year-old man who murdered 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7, and 6 adult staff members at around 9:30 a.m. Terror comes in all sizes, religions, colors, genders. Terror is evil. That morning I remember vividly. Why? Because just before I turned the news on, I was awakened that morning, about 8 a.m. I slept in, to banging, what I thought was banging on my door. It sounded like someone broke into my apartment. And I thought, I hope I'm safe. What's going on? I think I'm being robbed. And the next thing I know, I catapulted right into visions. And the visions were, the first was a Jewish star up in flames. And then behind the Jewish star was the planet Earth up in flames. And he said, if they take out and harm my Jewish children, it's the end of the world as we know it. Be careful what you ask for, children of the world. I want to also tell you that trading hatred for other groups is not okay either. This is a time period right now where we need to come together in love and understanding. And last week I saw a video on YouTube of a Jewish man from America talking about Islamic terror and how we have to start telling everybody exactly what it is and stop candy coating it and giving Islam a free pass. That it's Islamic terror that is the scourge of the earth. And I'm paraphrasing, those weren't his exact words, but his speech went on and on about Islamic terror and how we have to wake up and we have to defeat Islamic terror. Well, there might be some truth to it. There were 19 Islamic terrorists who flew planes into the World Trade Center. True. There is terrorists right across there. I'm in my apartment right now in Tiberias, and I'm looking at the Sea of Galilee, the Kinneret, and I'm looking at the Golan, and across the way is Syria. And there are terrorists doing unthinkable things, but those terrorists, you know who they're killing the most of? Other Muslims. So to say that Islam is the problem, that perhaps we have to wipe out 1.5 billion Muslims and then we'll have peace on earth, smacks of Nazi Germany. Wipe out the Jews, the final solution, and we will have peace. You can't treat evil with evil. You get more evil. We must, right now, come together. We must start learning, and the Jewish children need to wake up and take the lead. And lead the world to healing and teach what they know. The answers have been given to us thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago to Moses. The Jews hold the Torah, but it's not just the written Torah, it's the oral Torah, the oral tradition. The way of life exists and is known by a select few. And it is their chosen privilege to lead us out of this hell on earth. So we must come together. We must reach to each other in love and understanding. And that's what this program is about. Running on love with God is a vehicle for me to share Hashem, God, with you. His prophecies, his visions, his voice. He speaks to me daily in plain English. I encourage you to call me on this program. Email me questions at info@runningonlove.org. Running on Love is a registered 501c3 charity that I created in 2009 to help people understand that giving is love and that we should give because we love, not because we feel guilty that someone else doesn't have and we do. Not because someone has cancer and we don't. Not because we're trying to cure an illness. But we should give to those causes, but we should do it because we love. It's a new model in charity. It's a charity that is created to support all the charities around the world. Running on Love helps people come together under the umbrella of love. There's no religion, color, or creed. We come together as a human family and we give back to causes we care about in the name of love, to honor people we love. That's what Running on Love is. And I designed a whole program for people to come to festivals for love and to raise funds and awareness for charities around the world. And Running on Love when Running on Love prospers one day, and I am promised it will, Running on Love will build the road to redemption. It will pay for us all to come together and learn and accept each other as children of God and build the third holy temple. The third holy temple and world peace is not just for the Jewish children. It is for God's children, all the Jewish children, all the Muslim children, all the Christian children, all the children of the earth. God is God for all of us. We all have our special place. We all have our special role. The Jewish children have been chosen to share his knowledge and wisdom with the world. And now are the end days where this is supposed to happen now. A coming together now in love, understanding, and charity. Please keep listening. Please tune in. Go to runningonlove.org. Please support the mission of world peace through love and understanding. Please donate. And don't stop there. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. It's a start. Please do donate. And when, God willing, we have a festival for love, put your sneakers on and show up. And don't stop there. Come and run on love and raise money for any charity of your choice. And don't stop there. Tell everybody you know that they must run on love. They must learn for love. Go to learningforlove.org and watch videos where I share information with you. That's my life's purpose, to share him with you and all the world. We all must be children of God. We all must reach for him. We all must love each other as family now, or there will be no tomorrow. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to inspire you. Wake up, children. The time is now. We must have peace now.